hello everyone, and welcome you to another episode of our podcast, Business Masters, where we speak with different representatives of the businesses about the scaling of the business, about the different types of investing, about the specific problems which can occur due the work in the business. And today's our guest is Robert Costomiris, who is the president of MIOYM company. Hi, Robert. Nice to see you.
How are you? And thank you for having me. I appreciate it being on here and being allowed to be able to talk about what it is we do.
Yeah, amazing. Before we start, could you please tell a couple of words about yourself, your journey, and how you came to the level you are operating right now and doing with the real estate deals and what actually you do right now?
Yeah, I actually, when I got a real job in my 20s, I started off on Wall Street as a stockbroker. If you could imagine what a boiler room would look like, and by no means did I work for any boiler rooms or anything like that, but it was always, I was in a room with 100 guys standing, screaming into the phones, pitching people, presenting stocks and things of that nature. I cut my teeth in sales in an aggressive manner, doing cold calls and things like that. And like I said, there was 100 guys in a room all standing at all times. And it was definitely aggressive sales, which I definitely appreciate because it made me who I am today with the way that I learned how to sell. I don't necessarily take what I had back then, but it was definitely something that has molded me into being persistent and continually following up and being who I am. And I did that for 21 years. I was a stockbroker, went to financial advisor, all the way up to in 2011, we started our own broker-dealer securities firm, myself and 3 other partners. I started our insurance division, and then we also started an RIA, which is the managed assets portion of the firm. I did that for about 9 years. In 2015, what kind of changed my trajectory was my business partner had left the business at that time. I was running the broker dealer where we had 150 financial advisors through 5 different states at the time. And I had to make a decision because it was tough for me to manage my book of business and build the relationships that I had with my clients and manage their portfolios and then also run the broker dealer. So I had to sell my book to the back to the broker dealer. And then at that point I think it was a COO at the time, where I helped all the financial advisors with their businesses. I coordinated all the wholesalers and all the different products we had and helped them diversify their portfolios, helped them manage their businesses. And then at the same time, myself and another partner of ours in the broker dealer would also deal with the regulators and stuff and managing the entire business, the entirety of the business, I should say. Yeah, it became a little difficult to say the least. It was a fun time. It was great. But I think in 2021 through COVID, I got a little burnt out. I was saying for a while that I got bored of it, but I've come to terms that I think that I may have gotten burnt out dealing with so many different aspects of the business and doing what I was doing. And at that time, I sent out a text to about 20 of my closest friends that I thought that had some influence in people and could guide me. And one of them of which is my now current business partner, who at the time I had known for about 10 years or so. And he called me up and he said, and I say this all the time, in this day and age, I think people understand, is I sent out texts to 20 people and he called me. And, when you get a text, when you text somebody and they call you, it's kind of like, wait, what are you doing? Just respond to the text. I don't need you to call me. But I picked up the phone and his first words were, "I want you." And I was like, wait, you can't afford me. I'm not even joking. That was the conversation.
Yeah.
And he's like, meet me. Let's have lunch. Let me tell you about what I'm doing. And, then you can tell me I can't afford you. I had thought that he was only doing 1 or 2 houses, flipping them and putting them back out there. I didn't know to the extent that he was doing it and what his projection for the future was. And once I met with him a couple of times, we had lunches and dinners. And over the next 3 or 4 months, we came to terms. And here I am running the capital raising side of MIOYM Equities. And
yeah, that's amazing. It's a really great story because you actually started with the different asset classes. And as we said on the intro call, quite a lot of people actually stay in this area and continue to develop, and you switched your journey. But anyway, taking all the skills and knowledge you had from the previous jobs. And I was doing some kind of the research about the MIOYM group, about the MIOYM company. And I saw that you have a quite diverse portfolio of the objects. And could you please walk somehow in terms of your business model and how you operate right now? What are your key points you are looking at and how you deal actually right now?
So in my role as the capital raiser for MIOYM Equities, what we do is we go out and we buy distressed properties across the country. We look in 36 different states, but we're primarily in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, St. Louis, Indianapolis. We have an asset in Albany, New York. We have a couple assets we're closing on in Michigan near Detroit, and then some others in Texas that we're closing on currently. What we do is we look for properties that are coming to the market or out there off market, whatever the case may be, that are, I like to say, trading at a 60% discount for what their perceived market value is. And we buy properties that are either physically distressed or financially distressed. Doesn't really matter to us. We're not really afraid of it. And we'll go in there, we'll fix it up, and then we'll look to sell it off. And we do it through a combination of debt and equity. The debt we get from lending institutions that give us 85 to 90% of the acquisition price and 100% of the rehabs. And then we look for investors to come in alongside of us to invest passively to earn a 17.5% return. And by doing that, we could secure the property. We go in there, we get the necessary permits. We have a construction crew go in there and do all the rehab, and then we put it back out on the market and hope to sell it for the perceived market value or after repair value that we feel that it could be sold for, and then turn a profit. But every single time, whether we make it a profit or not, we have a 100% return ratio of returning our clients' principal plus whatever profit they were looking to earn on that specific property.
Yeah, this is a really interesting business model. And actually, the return is pretty well right now. It's, correct me if I'm right, so 17.5%. And
Right.
in terms of the criterias and like managing the business model of yours, do you looking on the specific additional criteria? So are you just focusing on that this is the distressed and we need to rehab or add some additional value to the objects of the real estate, or is there any specific because maybe someone who is listening or watching us has some property which he or she can actually sell. So what should this person consider?
So there's several data points that we look for. It's location is what we look for. We want to make sure that there's a certain amount of population so that people could see it. We don't buy properties that are on busy roads. We call them double lines because we don't, and if it is on a double yellow line, we want to make sure that the property's set back so that there's some privacy, so to speak, and you're not just pulling out of your driveway right onto a busy street. We want to make sure that there's some privacy because some people don't like to buy on busy streets. It's got to have at least 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, minimum of 1,000 square feet. And then we look for $750,000 of after repair value and below. And the reason why we do that is because we focus mainly on first-time home buyers. We have an affordable homes department here that we list it with a local realtor, but we also use our affordable homes to get families in there that have less than stellar credit. We help them fix their credit. Once their credit's fixed up within 30 to 60 days, we refer them out to our lending partner, who's generally Bank of America, who has an FHA program where they can get them in there buying a home as a first-time lender. And the reason why we do that is because, number one, they don't have stellar credit, and number two, they could get in under an FHA loan of 3.5% of down payment, so they don't have to come up with that 20% down payment.
Got it. Yeah, that's a really interesting concept. I think it will be valuable for the listeners of ours. And I have additional question in terms of the management of the properties, because as you said, you have them geographically in the different cities. And how do you scale geographically? So do you have the specific team, or it's like separate teams in the different locations? So how does it work here?
So we do. We actually manage all the construction here in our office. We have a project manager. We have somebody who deals with all the contractors. And then we also have somebody who deals with the finances of the construction. That's all in our construction department. And then they'll deal with the contractors in the local area. If we don't have a contractor, just as anybody else would, we'll send 3 or 4 contractors out there to bid the project. They'll give them, the construction department, when I say them, their scope of work. He'll plug it into a program we have to figure out what that scope of work really needs, because sometimes they either overdo it or underdo it. So we make sure that it's enough work to get the property back to where it needs to be. So they'll manage that portion of it. But then furthermore, we have a property management division that's in an office right behind me also. And then they'll manage the property once the construction is done, whether it's selling it, getting it rented if we need to rent it, which that's a rarity for us, or just managing it, like the lawn getting mowed, just taking care of it while it's just sitting there. If there's anything that needs to be taken care of, if something goes wrong, which something generally does go wrong, they'll sit there and they'll manage the property from here as well. So we do a lot of what we need to do from here, but we also have people that are on the ground helping us do it as well. There's contractors, property managers, things of that nature in the local areas.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's really interesting because it actually brings more stability and the predictiveness about the system and the whole process. And I wanted to speak about the technological part as well, because we all know that the technology right now is almost in every field, and it can be either the helping hand and the competitive advantage, or it can maybe create some problems on the way. And my question to you, connecting to the digitalization and the actually using of the technology, do you use some kind of the technologies in your business processes and in your journey and in your work, working maybe with investors, with real estate deals, or any other type?
Yeah, we have a proprietary technology that uncovers these properties because, as we all know, finding a property at a 60% discount is a rarity. We have a proprietary technology that takes the multi-state MLS, and that's the listing services here in the US. And each state and county within a state has different MLSs, but there's a multi-state MLS that covers everything. And we get the raw data from a third party that provides us that data, goes into our computers, and then it finds these properties that are coming to a 60% discount. What it does is it pops up on our analyst desks. The analyst then has to, it also, if it's perfect, it'll send out an official offer letter, proof of funds, an actual offer that goes out to the realtor or for sale by owner. And it says, hey, we want to buy your property for X amount of dollars. We're looking to do a 30 to 60-day close. We just need an inspection, get a scope of work, things of that nature. It'll automatically send it out, assuming there's contact information in there for this property. If there's not, and it always pops up on an analyst desk, regardless of an offer letter went out or not, and then the analyst will sit there and they'll analyze it further, making sure it does fit our model, making sure there is a dwelling on there, meaning that there is a house or single family residential, making sure that it is a single family property, not a multifamily or a duplex, triplex, or whatever, and making sure it does fit our criteria. And then they'll either continue with the process, cancel the contract, or if there is no contact information on there, which I'm going to say 10 to 20% of the assets that are on there don't have contact information, they have to go out and find that contact information and reach out to the people, owners or bank or whoever has it listed. So yeah,
Yeah,
that is our proprietary technology that we use.
yeah,
And then on the lower level, we have, like I just said, the construction department has a technology. I forget the name of it. That it'll give us a scope of work, and we're located in New York. Construction rates in New York are different than in Texas, than are Chicago, than
yeah.
Detroit. It varies all over the place, but it'll give us the exact prices of everything in those areas. And that's what makes us be able to scale the properties, or scale our business, but scale the properties and go back to the contractors and say, hey, this is what we think we should be paying. Are you willing to take the project at our rate?
Yeah, that's amazing because basically this is the automation and the system which obviously removes a lot of headaches and the paperwork, because from the early days there were quite a lot of things which people do something like that by hand, and basically there can be room for mistakes, for delays, etc. And now it can be done automatically. That's amazing. And in terms of the AI and automation, because it's the hot topic right now in some industries, and including real estate as well. So do you see the implementation of this AI technology or something like that as a huge deal for your specific niche and industry? And if yes, how you see what can create a competitive advantage for this part?
Yeah, and we do have AI components within our proprietary technology. It allows us to filter these properties and send them out the offer letters and everything. And it has a component in there that does it itself and thinks for itself. Furthermore, with our affordable homes, we run ads on Facebook and all the social media. And that will, once somebody clicks on, let's say, a property, let's just call it 123 Main Street in Detroit, it'll send them to our AI, and then it'll go through there and it'll qualify them what their credit score is. If they have bank statements, ID, we need to make sure that they're real people. And once they load into the AI this specific information, then it pops up on a different analyst, but in our property management, and then they'll reach out to them to go view the property, see if it's for them, if they want to take it on and move into it or not. So we do have AI in there, and we have further implementation of AI. We just haven't put it into effect just yet, but there are a couple other components we're using it for on the sales side.
Yeah, I got it. Got it. And I agree that AI is going to be like more and more implemented in the processes because it actually helps to do it faster and with
Yeah,
the higher accuracy, but it really
yeah,
depends on the quality on the input data which you
right.
have. And basically the more data you have in the system, the better the results and outcomes will be. And my question here is also in terms of the other types of automations, because you told that you already have some AI in the system in place. And where do you see is also the kind of implementation? Because there are a lot of processes in this field, like investor relations, or checking the documents, preparation, and other type of thing. Do you see that it should be applied as well, or it's just now the industry is not ready for this type of thing right now?
No, I think any task that is routine and goes through a process can be automated by AI. And just like you said, investor relations, I 100% think it can be. We haven't gotten there yet, but I think most routines that are just very systematic and it's either A or B or A, B, and C, you can have AI just do it for you. We just haven't gotten there just yet.
Yeah, got it. Got it. And I also had a question in terms of the like some operational processes, if you can share them, connected to the digitalization of the AI as well. Because as you said, you are steadily going to this stage where probably a lot of processes will be automated by AI and without hiring the physical and real people. And my question is, where do you see also as the biggest operational challenges you see the real estate investment firms struggle with that actually technology can solve besides the like what you've described? Yeah.
Construction is something that somebody has to stay on top of at all times. There's a human component involved in that, and it can go sideways real quick. So that's something that I don't think, maybe it will, but I just don't see it right now, taking over that component. Also, relationships, like on the sales side or investor relations side, whereas AI can jump in there and do some automated tasks. I just think relationships are a human to human type of thing that'll never be replaced. Just you have to touch base with people, update them on stuff, have that connection where maybe it can, but I just think that it's a huge component that I don't think it can over 100% replace, I should say, not overly replace, but 100% replace, just
Yeah.
because of that whole human connection. You need that.
Yeah, totally agree. Because in some points, people are getting used to these automations and systems, but still, in some cases, there need to be human interaction and fact checking because the price for the mistake is quite high at some point of the process. I
Right.
wanted to get back to the investment side of yours and actually dealing with
Yeah.
investors and your firm. And you actually partnered with Equity Trust for self-directed IRAs. And how does these or similar strategy actually changes the landscape for the small and retail investors to invest with you and your company in the specific deals when they if someone is willing to do that?
So we generally deal with, I wouldn't say small, but we deal with accredited investors and like the mom and pops out there that have done well for themselves and have some investable assets to invest. And the way that it helps us is Equity Trust is just one of our partners. We have the Entrust Group and a couple other self-directed IRA companies that we have partnered with. And what that does is allows individuals to use qualified funds or IRA, Roth IRA, SEP IRA funds that they generally cannot touch till 59 and a half. And even at that age, most people aren't retiring anyway. So it's funds that are sitting there where I don't want to say that they're bored with just the stock market, but they're tired of investing in only the stock market and being able to invest in alternative assets such as real estate, gold, Bitcoin, or crypto, I should say. I shouldn't just stick on Bitcoin. It gives them the ability to invest in other assets and diversify their portfolio with secure investments such as real estate, things that are tangible that you could touch, feel, go see if you want. And it just gives an ability that we didn't have 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, got it. Understood. So basically, it's the widening the range of the diversification asset classes, so it can be very useful for retail investors as well. I also had a question in terms of the maybe some expectations or perceptions of the investors who come to you and would like to invest in the distressed real estate, right? What do you see as the biggest or most the general misconceptions about the real estate distressed investing, and how you can what maybe potential thoughts some people have in terms of the process, etc., which is not usually correlates with the real business process here?
A lot of people, so we have a 12-month time frame for all projects, and a lot of people think that at the 12-month mark it's done, but we have to go in there, we have to get the permits for the construction, they have to start the construction, we have to do the construction. And if you've ever done construction or done any type of rehabbing, even on your own personal residences or apartments, condos, whatever it is, you'll know that once they start doing construction, that a good percentage of the time that something else pops up. So there may be delays, and it may not be even a lengthy delay, but if there's a delay on the closing when we buy it, a delay with the permitting, a delay with the construction itself, then we have to put it on the market and there's a little delay. So that 12-month mark that we have may not be exactly 12 months, although we anticipate it to be. I try to tell investors, although we say 12 months, anticipate 12 to 18 months. So it's not a cut and dry process by any means. It could be less time frame or it could be a little bit longer, but I try and tell people to anticipate that the whole time frame for their properties are going to be anywhere between 12 to 18 months as opposed to a hard stop at 12 months.
Yeah, got it. And in terms of some of the metrics for understanding this, whether this deal is successful or not, or investment is successful or not, are there any specific indicators which your investors look at, and basically you as the group of companies or the company looks at, and do these metrics are similar or are different when we compare?
Well, when we analyze a property, we go in there and we know exactly how much we buy it for, what the rehab is, and then what we could potentially sell it for. And then once we work in the debt and the equity component, we have a very good idea of whether the project works or not. And then if it works, then it proceeds. If it doesn't, then it's drop dead. As far as the investors, a lot of times, a lot of investors will get caught up into what it is we're doing with the construction and everything. But what they're really concerned with is their money safe? Can they trust us? And then will they get their money back with their return? And we've always returned it 100%. And the reason why it is a passive investment, I'm not saying that they should totally overlook at what we're doing. By no means, we try to be as transparent as possible, get them all the information they have with their ongoing projects. But what they're concerned with is, when am I getting my money back, and am I going to see all my return? And that's basically it. It's what I bought, how much I bought it for, how long I had to hold it for, and when do I get my return? And that's basically it.
Got it. Fair enough, because the investing, the return on equity and the time frame is the most crucial thing, because it's based on a lot of other strategies and metrics. And if we go to the investing with your company or just the investment process, because maybe some of our listeners or viewers would like to, before going to you as the investor, start something and try in the real estate for themselves. And what pieces of advice would you give these people in terms of the commercial real estate or residential real estate investing, basically distressed deals? What should they looking at if they would like to start something or learn more about this before going to you as an investor?
First and foremost is make sure the property works. Can you get it at the right price? What's the rehab you have to do? Can you control the construction yourself? Do you have the ability, or do you have a partner that can do it? And then make sure that you could sell it. If all those points match up, then it's a project for you. And that goes for commercial or single family residential. It doesn't matter what it is. You have to make sure you can control those factors, or at least have it controlled by somebody that you trust. And then just make sure you have the headspace and the time to do it, because it does take up a lot of headspace. And that's why we offer the passive investment, so that investors don't have to worry about getting the construction done on time. Who's the construction? What kind of walls are we putting up? What kind of paint are we putting up? What kind of finishes are we putting on the faucets? What kind of doorknobs are we putting? Things of that nature, they don't have to. And whereas when they do it themselves, they will 1000% make more money than we're offering. But we give it to them that they're making a nice return, and they don't have to worry about those headaches. So it's like a little trade-off. But there's a lot of people that want to go out there and do it themselves, and you got to make sure that it works for you and financially first before you can go out there and decide whether a project is good or not.
Yeah, got it. And if we speak about the first-time real estate investors, not people who would like to enter this field, what are typical mistakes can be made by these people? Because you need a special expertise here. You need the understanding of the market, of the specific location. You need, as you described, know your numbers and everything. Are there any specific mistakes which are made by people when they enter this asset class?
Yeah, you got to make sure you get the appropriate debt, assuming you're taking debt. If you're putting your own money into it, make sure you know how long your money's going to be tied up, because you don't want to tie it up for too long. The contractors are a huge thing. You got to vet your contractors, make sure they can get the job done on time, make sure they're legit, make sure they do good work, and that you don't have to micromanage them. Maybe you don't, I don't know. You want to make sure the debt makes sense, that the contractors make sense. And I know I'm repeating myself, but these are huge factors into it. And then also something that you touched on is the market that the house or property or whatever it is that you're buying. You have to make sure that the market is appropriate for whatever you're doing. If you're buying a commercial property and you have to rent, you have to make sure there's people that, will lease the office space or warehouse space, whatever it is. If you're looking to sell, you got to make sure that there is a market to sell it. If you're in a rural area, you might be familiar with the rural areas. We are not, and we need more eyes on a property than a rural area provides, but a rural area might be great because you can get it at a less expensive price point than you do with these metro area properties. So you have to figure out what's best for you and what you're looking to achieve with said property.
Yeah, got it. I hope it will be very useful for listeners and viewers, because it's the underlying sense wisdom which not everywhere you can look at and understand. And speaking about the MIOYM company and your journey with it and throughout your journey, what skills or expertise you think matter the most in today's market in real estate, and what takes you to learn throughout all your journey the hardest way? Maybe it's like some specific knowledge or maybe understanding of something. What are the biggest lessons you've learned through your way?
Patience and go with your gut. Don't rush into a deal. Don't go jumping into a deal just because there's other people bidding on a property. You have to have your own strategy, and patience is a huge thing, and going with your gut. You got to believe that it's the right thing to do for you or the property, whatever the case may be, but you have to go with your gut and know that it's right. Because a lot of times when you get into something and you don't feel that it's going the right way, because things will go wrong, but if you know that you're doing the right thing and it's going the right way, then you're good. But if you don't and you're questioning everything, then you're probably in the wrong deal.
Yeah, got it. And basically not rushing means also like knowing the numbers, calculating everything, and going step by step with the process, right?
Yeah, a lot of times what'll happen is you'll go into a property and you'll have a realtor and they'll say, you have to bid up, but you have a specific price point that you can buy a property at, and you really can't go over that. And your ego will get caught up in this, and you'll say, oh, I want to win it, I want to get it, and I need to get this, and you'll bid up and you'll buy too much for the property. And the same thing goes for the construction. Contractors will tell you like, oh, we have to put this finish on, we have to do this, we have to do that, where it may not be necessary. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but you have to have that knowledge of, all right, I have $100 to spend. I can't spend $200 just to put, this, whatever it is, in just because the contractor says it. You have to make sure that it fits your model.
Yeah, got it.
That's what I mean by patience. You have to stay patient and stay in your lane.
Yeah, got it. And in terms of the company, the MIOYM, where do you see it in 5 years in the nearest projection, in terms of the position, or maybe the general market, maybe dealing with the specific asset classes? What would it be?
We'd like to have ourselves where we're competitive with a lot of the bigger broker dealers and securities firms, where we're offering real estate investments as regular investment, if you will. We want to be a known entity where we're bringing these investments to people, and that it is something that they could believe in, trust in, and they know that they're going to get their returns. And we want to be one of those companies where we're doing 500 properties a year. We've got the staff in multiple areas, and we're just moving right along, and the properties are turning over, and we have investors' confidence and trust to know that we get the project done and we're putting it out there.
Got it. And what excites you the most in doing this and understanding the real estate market, or maybe the trends? What excites you the most in terms of this specific situation?
It's getting projects done and showing investors that the stock market, which I'm a huge fan of, and by no means am I bashing it, is not the only place where you can go out and get decent returns. I want people to understand that there are other asset classes that are secure in that sense, where you don't have to guess. It gets me excited that people can have an investment where they get a return and then they're like, oh, okay, this is something that I could trust and rely on and I could sleep at night type of investment. So that's what gets me excited, is that we have the ability here to bring a real asset. Somebody doesn't have to put in their time, effort, and energy into something and turn over the property. And oh, by the way, we have to sell it now that the construction is done. We do all that for them and we hand deliver them a return. And I want investors to have that sleep at night mentality with us. And that's what excites us, is trying to get us to that point where investors are like, you know what, I did this one project with you a few years ago. I'd like to come back and do 2 or 3. And then I have a buddy here that does it. So I want that kind of relationship with my investors and clients and prospects like that, where, or alike, that are turning to us for that security.
Yeah, that's amazing, because if people just bring their peers and friends and family, it means that there are real results, there are high trust here, and you deliver the value which investors expect, basically. And one of the final questions here is, are there any specific pieces of advice you would like to give to the person who either would like to step in this field of the real estate or just invest in some part of these deals, where to look at, maybe what to read, or maybe what start learning from, or just contacting you and asking some questions? What would it be?
Yeah, so I could help people with that. And I have helped people with trying to invest themselves. And they can call me, email me, DM me on LinkedIn, whatever the case may be. And I'll be more than happy to walk them through it. But there's so many aspects to buying real estate that there's not one thing. The best thing I could say, and I know I said it before, is patience and sticking to your lane. And I don't know every single market that's out there. Some people in different areas will know their market better than me. So it might be helpful for them to stick to their local market and learn their local market and learn what's going on out there, because they will know it a lot better than we will. And that's about it, is knowing your market, knowing what you're looking to accomplish, and being very patient with it.
Got it. Got it. Maybe any other final words to our listeners and viewers from your side?
Nothing. It's just, when you get into real estate, it's not like buying a stock where you can buy it and then just sell it 2 days later. When you're getting into it, and this is why I keep harping on the patience part of it, is stay patient. Wait for a project to come to you. Don't try to force anything. Make sure you know what you're getting into, because even if you have the best contractor and it may only take you 6 months to do it, it's still 6 months that your money's going to be tied up. Whether you take debt or you put in cash into it, be very patient with it and wait for the right deal to come to you, because they will come to you eventually. And right now we're in a time where inventory is a little bit lower than what it generally is, just because of interest rates coming up. Now they're a little bit lower and perception is starting to come back to reality. But the inventory will pick up and there will be properties out there. So whether you get it today or a month from now or 3 months from now, does it really matter? It doesn't, because you don't want to rush into a deal and then get stuck in something that you can't get rid of.
Got it. Got it. Thank you so much for your time. And this is an amazing interview. And if anyone from our listeners or viewers have any questions or would like to contact you, I will put all the information in the description, and waiting for your comments, guys. But anyway, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for all people who were with us, and see you next time.
Yeah, and I want to thank you for having me on, because like I said, anytime I get to get out there and tell my story and tell people who MIOYM is, it's such an honor, and I appreciate you asking me to come on to your podcast. It means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.